Taylor's principle of gauge design. According to Taylor, go and no-go gauges should be designed to check maximum and minimum material limits, which are checked as below. Go limit. This designation is applied to that limit of the two limits of size which corresponds to the maximum material limit considerations, that is, upper limit of a shaft and lower limit of a hole. The go gauges should be of full form, that is, they should check shape as well as size. No-go limit. This designation is applied to that limit of the two limits of size which corresponds to the minimum material condition, that is, the lower limit of a shaft and the upper limit of a hole. No-go gauge should check only one part or feature of the component at a time so that specific discrepancies in shape or size can be detected. Thus, a separate no-go gauge is required for each different individual dimension. Diagram indicating Taylor's principle of gauge design. A shaft. For measuring the dimensions of shaft, go snap gauge and no go snap gauges are used, and for checking the dimensions of hole, go plug gauge and no go plug gauges are used. Limit gauges. A go no go gauge refers to an inspection tool used to check a workpiece against its allowed tolerances. It derives its name from its use. The gauge has two tests. The check involves the workpiece having to pass one test go and fail the other no go. It is an integral part of the quality process that is used in the manufacturing industry to ensure interchangeability of parts between processes or even between different manufacturers. A go no go gauge is a measuring tool that does not return a size in the conventional sense but instead returns a state. The state is either acceptable, the part is within tolerance and may be used, or it is unacceptable and must be rejected. They are well suited for use in the production of area of the factory as they require little skill or interpretation to use effectively and have few, if any, moving parts to be damaged in the often hostile production environment. Plain gauges. Gauges are inspection tools which serve to check the dimensions of the manufactured parts. Limit gauges ensure the size of the component lies within the specified limits. They are non-recording and do not determine the size of the part. Plain gauges are used for checking plain unthreaded holes and shafts. Plain gauges may be classified as follows. According to the type, standard gauges. These are made of nominal size of the part to be tested and have the measuring member equal in size to the mean permissible dimension of the part to be checked. Limit gauges are also called go and no-go gauges. These are made to the limit sizes of the work to be measured. One of the sides or ends of the gauge is made to correspond to maximum and the other end to be minimum permissible size. The function of limit gauges is to determine whether the actual dimensions of the work are within or outside the specified limits. According to their purpose, workshop gauges. Working gauges are those used at the bench or machine in gauging the work as it being made. Inspection gauges. These gauges are used by the inspection personnel to inspect manufactured parts when finished. Reference or master gauges. These are used only for checking the size or condition of other gauges. According to the form of tested surface, plug gauges, they check the dimensions of a hole. Snap and ring gauges, they check the dimensions of a shaft. According to the design, single limit and double limit gauges, single-ended and double-ended gauges, fixed and adjustable gauges. Plug gauges. Plug gauges are the limit gauges used for checking holes and consist of two cylindrical wear-resistant plugs. The plug made to the lower limit of the hole is known as go end, and this will enter any hole which is not smaller than the lower limit allowed. The plug gauge made to the upper limit of the hole is known as no go end, and this will not enter any hole which is smaller than the upper limit allowed. The plugs are arranged on either ends of a common handle. These are the diagrams indicating the different types of plug gauges. Ring gauges. Ring gauges are used for gauging shafts. They are used in similar manner to that of go and no-go plug gauges. A ring gauge consists of a piece of metal in which a hole of required size is bored. These are the two different kinds of ring gauges. go ring gauge and no go ring gauges for measuring the shafts. Snap gauges. A snap gauge usually consists of a plate or frame with a parallel faced gap of the required dimension. Snap gauges can be used for both cylindrical as well as non-cylindrical work as compared to ring gauges, which are conveniently used only for cylindrical work. These are the two different kinds of snap gauges for checking the dimensions of shaft.